right, next, there's been a lot of drama in the NBA this week, particularly in Minnesota. I'm extremely here for it. I know you guys are. Does someone want to quickly walk us through what's been going on in Minnesota recently between Jimmy Butler, Karl Towns, Tom Thibodeau, Andrew Wiggins' brother? Someone give us the history.
Steven and Steven Jackson.
Of course, naturally.
It's really interesting that already kind of the rumors are flying around as far as because I guess, do you guys really remember when Jimmy was he went on to Gabrielle Union's Instagram and just posted the guys so I guess there's rumors now about Cat Cat and his girlfriend split up, and people are there's it was pretty recently it coincides with all of this, so I maybe we should just start there. Is Jimmy literally too much of a woodman that it's going to be problematic on any team that he ends up on?
No, I was thinking about how crazy it was
on the Celtics. It would just be, he would just be able to have kids with all the wives, and then they'd just be Celtic adjacent children that are also related to Jimmy Butler. So you'd have a Butler Horford, a Butler Tatum. It would be perfect.
So you're saying that the Celtics men are so potent that the wife, the woman who's carrying the baby actually isn't passing on any DNA. It would just be the two men. It would just be.
Dude, the distinction in this Jimmy Butler situation that I think is very, for me, incredible, is that he asked for a trade not because he's in a fight with Cat, but he thinks less of Cat because he got mad at him for trying to get with his girlfriend. He's on such a level of pimping that he expects teammates to not only be okay with it, but to encourage it. So
dog, we're a family. What the fuck? No, it was it's a really rough. He gets traded to a team. He immediately takes over the team. The team gets to the playoffs for the first time. He takes the best player's girl that was the best player when he arrived and who's just out of college. Then he just wants to leave. He's you guys can't hang, bro.
Dude, that rules so much. That's so cool.
I literally want to go to one of the worst run franchises in sports just so I can show you how much better I am than all of you.
Wristman, you once characterized him as insanely erotic. Is that still your opinion?
Oh yeah. It's not wavering in light of it.
Okay.
I would say it would even be more. It would even the levels of erotic would go up.
Yeah, getting mad at somebody because they got mad at you for cheating with their significant other is the most Prince thing you can do. So I'm very.
Dude, honestly. So all right. So I will say quickly, if we want to relate this to the Celtics in any fashion at all, the insane creation it would be if Jimmy Butler was exchanged in some way for Gordon Hayward, because that would create this thing where Jimmy Butler's best friend is probably close to Jaylen Brown, and then second or exchanges with Kyrie Irving. So then they would create this modern day NBA Beatles situation where you don't even know. 10, 20 years from now, we might see beat the Celtics, and it's a reference to how they just had fucking orgies with each other and had while they were listening to some transcendental African new wave music. That's what it creates, and I thought they also would win a lot of games, which would be fun to watch too. So
Erotic City.
I don't endorse it, but I wouldn't hate it.
Nothing would prove the existence of the Mind Sherpa more than that reality that you've just created.
Yeah, dude. Fuck. I'm into it.
I always thought it was weird because Jimmy Butler seems to be friends with Jaylen Brown and all these cool guys and stuff, but he loves country music and fishing and all this stuff. He just, and I love him, but it's just, I don't know. I think that maybe Jimmy Butler's a fraud a little bit. I'm not a huge fan. Not sure. I wouldn't want him anywhere near Boston, that's for sure. Especially after all of this. He wanted to sign, what was it? He wanted them to renegotiate his contract, right? And then on top of that, give him the max extension. That's a little wacky, right? Because there's a lot of players in the NBA that are in the position that they could ask for that, but they just don't. Like people don't do that. So what's
Yeah.
up? I don't know. This
I mean,
soured me on Jimmy Butler a
he's
little bit.
he's definitely like an alpha guy who like also like 9 times in that like Nuggets Timberwolves like winner take all game would just post up and with no conscience like lift like shots that like wouldn't even hit the rim. He was like clearly too tired but didn't trust anyone else to do anything in the clutch time, and he missed like 13 shots down the stretch.
No, he hates to pass because he like doesn't think anybody's at his level. He's friends with the Wahlbergs. Like that's why he's doing this crazy salary stuff. He probably had a conversation with Mark, and Mark was like, "Dog, I just got paid for a movie because they needed to reshoot it, and I got like double my paycheck. So why don't you just do that? You can get paid double if you just say you need the money."
Honestly,
he's like, I'm gonna try that.
Honestly, that's a great point, and I think that the lens with which we view Jimmy Butler can like the Wahlbergs can inform that quite a bit, because like for a fact that like the first time like Jimmy and Mark like were in a room talking, like the thing that they agreed upon and kicked around was how both of them could have stopped 9/11. Like if they were on the plane, like that was the point of like turning around. Like Jimmy would have like doubled down and like yelled at Kat about how he wouldn't have stopped 9/11. He would have like played Fortnite. That's probably what this is. Jimmy won't stop talking about 9/11, and now he wants.
Mark Wahlberg's version of like method acting is like trying to be a Boston cop for like 2 years, but he just like actually just wants to beat up people.
Like he doesn't know what method acting is, and he just like assumed it's pumping iron in like a back alley, so he just did nothing but lift weights. Like for each roll, he adds a new muscle to his chest.
In terms of if we want to like briefly talk about like actual basketball implications, I really think that the Clippers. Yeah, I guess this is true. I really think the Clippers probably would make the best trade partner for that.
Yeah.
That's Celtics relevant because this is the last year the Celtics have that Clippers pick, and if Jimmy Butler goes to the Clippers, they've got like a fighter's chance of like making the playoffs. You'd think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be really, if they could keep Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, him and Jimmy would rule. Like that'd be a really good combination. Plus Montrez. So I think they could win enough to be in that conversation.
I mean, if they can, they probably wouldn't be able to, but trying to keep Tobias as well, like just having that extra wing, Jimmy and Tobias, is like amazing.
Yeah, I just assumed that Tobias would have to be the one if they were going to do any kind of matching. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's like that's like the one that like kind of like makes the most sense, because I feel like both the New York teams don't really have anything they'd want to trade that could go back, whereas like Tobias is actually expiring this year and they might actually lose him. So it's like that it all kind of like makes sense a little bit. But Celtics, like there's like a very real possibility, like even if like, because the Kyrie like stuff about him leaving has gotten like even louder with all this Jimmy stuff. And I think that like kind of what you want to like look at with this stuff is the fact that even if like Kyrie were to leave, the Celtics would still be in like a really great spot. They still have like, it's possible they might have like 3 lottery picks or like 2 almost lottery picks for like no reason.
And salary to match to go out and get a star. If they wanted to bundle up all the picks and they're like, we just need another all-star point guard who might be a little bit more along the lines of someone who can defend all like three positions.
But there is a dark timeline where the Celtics lose the Sixers pick and they could potentially lose Kyrie and Terry.
Rich man won't let that happen.
Yeah. I was thinking about today and I was like, ooh, that's the darkest timeline right there.
I haven't seen it in my prophecies yet, but
okay, good. Thank you.
Many things are bound to happen this year.